It's like you're in California, I'm here.
Here.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
hear me.
yes, and you can hear me now too. Headphones on his head for 3 hours at a time every day.
It's like a muffler for bowling ball, you
What?
know?
Oh, really? Just like
Yeah, yeah.
keeps the bowling ball clean,
Well, and you can polish
keeps it
it.
shiny.
Hmm.
Dude, you just sent me a message that made me laugh so hard when you were like, "We could talk about my son," and I was like, I read it in like a southern accent. I was like, "My son? What is my son?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Xi Jinping."
You know my son.
Yeah.
My name is Chris, aka Lale, and this is Lula. But your real
Lawrence, because it's like an
Lawrence is
old dude.
awesome.
Well, it gets abbreviated to Larry.
To bone in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
It's
Well, at
awesome.
least we
It's
have
awesome.
that in common. But I did for like 12 years. I mean, for those of you that don't speak Chinese, Lila is like a name that's usually reserved for small dogs and children. And I'm a 6'3" white guy, but or 190 meters for you Europeans, or centimeters. Um, and it
Does
just
that
doesn't really
work?
fit. Except
Do
what?
people take you seriously? Like you go into a meeting and you're like, 你好, what's the
Well,
le?
the most dogs, like I'm
Mhm.
like, dude, I've used it for 12 years. You don't think I've like been in Chinese train stations where people have yelled at their kid and I like turn around, like, who's yelling at me?
Nice.
Me. She thought that I was just like really happy all the time and energetic. And she
You were
was
just
just like,
goofy.
yeah, as Lawrence at the time.
Dude,
When she
Lawrence is
like
an
looked at
awesome name. Lawrence of Arabia. It's fucking A.
yeah.
Fucking A.
Well, my uncle's named that and my grandpa too.
Lawrence Farley, and you're like this legit China hand. Lawrence
Yeah.
Farley. You're like, dude, let me tell you
Yeah.
about the economy. Lula,
Yeah,
you're a funny guy.
I went to a boarding school up in New England.
Are you
I
a
was
rich
living in
kid?
Vermont. No, but my parents, like the local schools up there was really, really bad. So they
Okay.
really invested more money into trying to send me to like a local boarding school, basically.
Okay.
And they had Chinese as a language study, which it makes me sound old. I was lucky enough to be able to interact with the language at a young age, which I always think it. Yeah, I was 15 when I first started. And I had studied Spanish for like 7 years in Texas, bad at languages, but in reality, I just wasn't good at understanding Indo-European language.
Was fun.
Yeah, exactly. Chinese is more like, are you able to memorize characters? It's like, yeah. It's like, but I'm not great at grammatical patterns and stuff.
So flashcards in high school, and was it like me? I hated it. I fucking hated Chinese. Like shit. Was it
Well,
like
when
that
did
for
you
you?
not hate it anymore?
Uh, like after I got there, give me like a month or two. And then it kind of
it's the exact same thing for me. So when I first started it, the first 2 terms I did it, it was just to satisfy my high school's language requirements. And it was only until I went to China.
How old were you and when was that?
I was 16 when I went there.
Okay.
And I went with like a travel crew and we went to like Yangshuo, but then I also had a homestay in the countryside for a month with the Miaozu, the Miao people outside of Guilin. Which was great for me because I kind of like grew up in the countryside in the South, so like
In Texas.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah,
and there's lots of weed in Yangshuo, as one hears.
Yeah, well, at the time, I definitely didn't know the word for weed, but I definitely also like I was much more interested in drinking white wine.
Okay.
I can't really like memorize it that well because you're just like, oh, it's another crazy thing that I'm eating that I don't know what it is.
Another awesome thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing though,
at that age,
same time as me, man.
Oh, no, really? Wow, that's sick.
I went to Guilin. Oh no, 2006. I got to Guilin. I hated it, and I showed my butt to these river cruise. I mooned them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Yeah. That's what I remember. That and that beer fish.
Well, the thing about Guilin, I liked Guilin's like temperature. It really reminds me a lot of LA, actually, to be honest with you. But the way that they speak in those areas of Mandarin is very difficult. That's why I was so lucky because I majored in it in college. I went on to college and I majored in it as one of my economics and Chinese studies, and then I got a scholarship to go to the Central Academy of Drama in Beijing. And the
Awesome.
thing about the Central Academy of Drama in Beijing and all these other art and acting schools in China, they make all their students speak, standard Mandarin. Like you're expected to speak good Mandarin. So I was lucky to have an environment where it was very like rigorous with the Mandarin pronunciation.
That's 戏剧学院.
中央戏剧学院 Beiyang or something.
We called it, well, I don't know about the others, but I always called it Beiyang. Like Beiyang, it sounds like we're fucking into, I don't know, some tech shit. We're not.
Yeah, electronical engineering or something.
Yeah. Like there's Beihang and then there's Beiyang. What the fuck? But like our school wasn't so serious. I always thought that your school was like the serious acting school. I remember Zhang Zi was from there.
Yes.
Yeah, but our school was basically people that make advertisements and are funny on the internet, which isn't a bad thing.
It's not. It's just a different skill set. And the one that you'll see at Zhongxi is more like the Russian type of like acting training, like hard, physical, like tough. Like it was like a drill instructor. I'm able to do those Cold War 2020s, even though they kind of look really simple, is because of, Zhongxi studying acting there. Like the rigorous systematic training that they teach you. It really helped.
Can you tell me about that? What do you mean? What looks easy?
Well, for what I'm talking about for like Cold War 2020 is like, some of those of you that have not seen Cold War 2020, I play all the roles. And so there's something as simple as like the eye line, but then also your breath, your gaze, what's happening there. And then the stuff that really helped at Zhongxi was like, nerves and adrenaline into something that can help you. And that happened through like rigorous, physical training.
Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Zhongxi is really hardcore about that.
That's awesome. I thought you're just this random dude who got, and everybody was mean because I said some shit. And then I made these videos where I kind of ridiculed them. I don't know if you've seen them. Not even that. I would just be this over-the-top happy foreigner. Basically what this, what's his fucking name? This Fulafu is doing.
Yeah,
he's carrying the torch.
Woo! He's like, I love China.
It's awesome. We got a train. It's awesome.
You saw what I did in that Cold War 2020 episode. I had Nathan Rich deal cocaine.
I saw that one. Nathan Bitch. I saw that one. That was nice.
Nathan Bitch. Because I can't use his name or else I get in trouble if I like talk shit about him on YouTube.
Why would you get in trouble? I talk shit about him all the time.
I got in trouble. I got a warning from YouTube but I think it was because I was at an event. I was at a Hong Kong. Before I performed, I explained what a white monkey was, basically a yang wu mao. And I said it was Nathan Bitch. And I was like, I put my middle finger in there and I was like, fuck you. And my video, they took it down. They're like, you have a warning. You shouldn't do that.
Profanity?
No, I think it was hate speech.
Hate speech.
That's what they said. Hate speech.
You can't do anything anymore.
Dude, I know, man. It's crazy. The PC.
Is it too much?
I don't know if I want to say I'm a victim, but I definitely think it's a nuisance.
Well, if you can't say Nathan Bitch anymore, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Like, what the hell? It's a hateful speech they said against protected groups of people.
Well, he is bald. Dude. He is bald.
Yeah. So is that what his protected group is? Man, I was so frustrated with it. It was terrible.
Okay, well.
What can you do, though, man? There's extremes on both sides.
So now you just... Okay, well, that works, I guess.
That's why I call Fula Fu as well, Fula Fool, just to avoid any of that hassle. And Chris Wu, I call him Chris Hu.
What's up with that guy? Don't you like that guy?
Well, I think he's a fine dude, but he certainly, toes the party line hard.
I think
certainly does.
Yeah, which for me, like, you can't say he's a fine guy if he uses autotune. If you use autotune, there's only one situation where you can use autotune, and that's if you're Antoine. Well, okay, T-Pain and Antoine Dodson. If you go, what's now? But seriously,
no, I don't. I don't use autotune.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, but like,
I would not.
I've been trying to do. I was listening to some Chinese hip hop. And also, I was asking people to recommend Chinese. A guy from Sichuan who is angry about foreigners, Lao Xie or something like that.
Oh, dude. 168 centimeters. Just like skinny ass.
Right? Like, I don't know, Bushwick Bill. Pretty short.
I don't even mean like to say anything shitty about like short dudes. I just mean to say like the China that have like intense xenophobic ideologies usually root the blame of their own shortcomings onto that of foreigners. And there are a lot of shitty like English teachers that are just wasting their lives away. And answer to come out with like, you know, it could be perceived as a very racist song.
I was wondering about that actually. I was wondering what the deal foreigners like Nathan Bitch, or is he angry at I don't know who? Maybe me?
That's the problem, is when you don't make a distinction. Even in his lyrics, he doesn't make a distinction, and he just kind of, you know, he just kind of wipes them all. And you're discouraging guys like me or younger versions of us that are studying Chinese that might see a video like that and be like, oh, well, I guess these people don't like me, so fuck yeah.
Like intensely, because they're really huge, but it just doesn't really do it for me. It just sounds weak.
But, I agree with you. To be honest with you, they do trap is one of the things they do, which I don't have a lot of problem with trap. You know, I don't really like it that much in general because I like 90s and early 2000s boom bap kind of hip hop because I'm a drummer. So like I kind of like that feel. But the Higher Brothers, you know, it's really interesting. If you watch Ma Sile, the lead singer of the Higher Brothers, the guy's got like a tattoo here. He's very skinny. Watch his old stuff before he joined the Higher Brothers, and he has got some sweet, it's the coolest thing you'll ever hear. You'll be like, this is what Chinese hip hop should sound like. But then what happens is you want to appeal to the biggest market. And, you know, when you get swept up in that, you just don't write honest lyrics anymore. What I care about so much in hip hop is like, another thing is like Chinese youth's obsession with materialism and obsession with vanity.
But isn't that big part? If you've ever listened to Master P, it's basically just money. But I'm
not a big fan.
One thing that I noticed was it felt to me like I was scrolling through these recommendations by these people on Instagram and YouTube, and it sounded to me as if a lot of Chinese hip hop is sort of gimmicky and relies on dialect.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, Sichuan Hua is funny, right? So like this dude, he raps in his local dialect or whatever, but it seemed as though, I don't know, it seemed as though that was what made it kind of sound smarter than it really was, maybe. Is that a thing that...
Definitely, 100%. And they'll also do the same thing with English sometimes. You'll see just like really annoying uses of English words that don't make sense. But what, you know, when you're rapping, to be able to, you know, are you saying sure or si is going to influence your flow a lot. And so Sichuanese people is very lazy on the tongue and the lips. So it's kind of much easier to flow. And the tones are kind of more high. So it's kind of, it goes better with a hip hop beat. But in terms of resorting to using a dialect, I think that they do that all the time. I think it's definitely a crutch.
What's a hip hopper that I need to check out? Like, I tell you what I like.
Anquan Zhuolu. Anquan Zhuolu. I don't even know. I tell you, Anquan Zhuolu, Safe Landing. They already broke up, unfortunately. It's a group of three rappers, and they are the truth, dude. They give you hope for Chinese hip hop.
Really?
Listen to Anquan Zhuolu, and you'll be like, yes, there is hope.
Really? And where are they from?
Anquan Zhuolu. Well, the three of them are from different areas of China. All different areas. And so they have a relatively standard accent. But one of the songs I covered on my It's Great.
Like, what do they rap about?
So my favorite song that they have is called 日常休闲, where he doesn't know what to write. And then he like drinks a few beers, lights a cigarette, and within like the smoke of his cigarette, he finally like sees what to write. And it's
like a storytelling kind of rap.
Yeah, he does a lot of storytelling type stuff. It's me a lot of it's like poppier hip hop. These guys are unbelievable. I would stake my whole reputation on it.
Yeah, that's a big statement.
I know. That's so
they might disappoint you. They might turn out to be fans of my son or of Trump.
Well, to be honest with you, interesting.
Yeah, but then there's so much money.
I know.
What can we do, man?
Time's a lot. Who knows?
Dude, this Trumpism in Chinese people.
It's fucking insane.
Damn.
It's fucking insane.
I noticed your video or something, and I was like, that is funny. I like that, but no, I don't want to like this. I see people just kind of like, no, that guy is a Trump on. That guy is solid.
Yeah.
No, that guy has turned into a fan of my son, and it's like
Yeah.
there's nothing left, and we
Yeah.
are Baizuo and idiots. We are soft. We're pussies. We're getting replaced. We totally condone I don't know, political correctness, and we want to make everybody shut up, and it's just terrible.
Think about it too, because Baizuo, I think an accurate translation would be something along the lines really does exist in America, and it's you know, spurred cancel culture. Like there is a lot of real issues that come from the hardcore left and neoliberal side, at least in America, that should be talked about, that need to be talked about. And like, I, as a straight white male that was in a freaking fraternity in college, and I have like a joke where I talk about how I don't think changing your pronouns is going to help transgender people. You know how I know? Because ta. It's a joke, but I've had, you know, it's always white women that come up into me and be like, well, I did think that joke about the transgenders looked very funny. And so I like get attacked by Baizuo. They attack me.
It's like the most, you could have just skipped everything you just said and just said like, dude, my name is Lawrence. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear. You're an oppressor.
The thing is with these, know what Zuo and Yo are. They don't, all they do is they use this label that they live in a bubble of, or an echo chamber of information. They don't want to consider that they could be wrong, especially these Chinese fans wall, because they are coming out with the mentality of, I made it outside the wall. I'm smarter than all the people around me. I see things much more clearer than these idiots around me. And Gong Meiti by Falun Gong Media. You've been fooled again.
Nice.
You've been fooled again. Sorry.
Goes through the effort of climbing the wall, goes outside, and he's like, well, this is better. Fuck.
And the word that most, you know, are coming from this launching point of, we really don't like the CCP. We have the ability to do something anti-CCP, who are important figures in the anti-CCP movement. But we're being attacked. We're being attacked because of the extreme ideology. YouTubers that don't work for Falun Gong, they will toe their line because of the traffic, because that will give them internet traffic and they can make more. I always say that, dude. I always say, you know what? Guess what, guys? If I'm wrong and you guys are right, great. My country will be better for it. All I want is
YouTuber in Taiwan. And he returned to the UK, and he was a bit paranoid about the YouTube monetization scheme and like how to silence him by like, I don't know what that's called, shadow banning him or something like that. So there was already a little bit of paranoia going on. Then he went to China, then he went to the UK, and he is a proud Trumpist now. And British people in the UK, they're being replaced, and there's no place for white people anymore. There's no-go zones. And it's not wrong to be proud to be white, and white people should be able to protect themselves.
Just with you, you know, the reason that Chinese Trump fans frustrate me the most is a lot of my views, other than social views, are actually kind of right-leaning. Like socially, I'm like definitely pro-gay marriage. I'm definitely pro-women. Like, should states have, or should the federal government be able to micromanage states in America? And so like a lot of my views are traditionally leaning more to the right together, so that people forget actually what republicanism was. It sucks to only have two.
Yeah, it is a bit odd.
It's important to have at least two parties, because we as voters, you know, you can look at it from, we're consumers. We wish we should have more, but two is better than one. And like, it's important that we don't, because of Donald Trump's rise and because the evils of someone like Mitch McConnell, just blindly demonize the Republican Party, because we need the Republican Party. That's why I like the Lincoln Project, where it can like, we need it to continue to exist, and we need it to get healthier. We need it to be better than the current state it is, because obviously the Democrats also have blind spots, and they also have things that they don't do correctly, or at least where you need some type of counterbalance. And so the answer isn't just to say, you're a Republican, you're a monster. You're a Trump fan, you're a fucking monster. Or
You're not a monster. Fine. You're a Trump fan. You're not a monster. I don't know. I mean, at this point,
well,
we've
the
had
thing
4
about
years.
most Trump fans are they're uninformed. I mean, they're misinformed.
Wouldn't it also make sense to say you're a fan of my son, Xi Jinping?
Are more ignorant. The reason that the breeds their information asymmetry that exists that they can't see the clear picture. And then you would hope if they could see the clear picture, they'd make the right decision. But I think if you don't have a good education system, that'll never happen.
Well, to me, it seems like they're seeing basically Europe and America, North America, and but Europe and North America, that's what we look at. And Europe is struggling with nationalism.
Yeah.
America is struggling. We're all struggling with COVID. They're not. They're not struggling with terrorism. They're not struggling with, I don't know. How can you struggle with nationalism in a country that is basically a continent? You know, you would have to go really far to experience a problem with anybody if you're in central China. So, I mean, from their perspective, it looks a little bit.
They will just look at the Chinese state media or the media that's reported inside China and completely believe the opposite. So if the media, that's what I always
do. Yeah. You look at Chinese news and you're like, oh, okay, they're saying the economy is
good. Yeah, I was at the People's Daily for a period of time.
Oh, I wrote for them.
Yeah, I translated and wrote for them too. You got to make that money, man.
What did we do?
Oh, I love it, dude. On road ones, I was doing like the ones for the Tianjin, Hebei, and Beijing, like tri-area, like huge ones. And so I would interact with Chinese Communist Party officials, some of them very high up. Mm-hmm. And you know what I noticed? First of all, a lot of them are pretty smart guys. Yeah. And second of all, they're also much 清醒. They're much clearer than any of us think. Like they will openly, at least with me, they'll be like, you know, Xi Jinping's not doing a very good job, but, you know, I'm just, you know, they're all 机会主义. They're all opportunists, you know, they don't care about the country at all.
I want to get a sense of the timeline here. So you studied Chinese in high school, then you went for this little trip to Guilin, and then you went back, then you decided to sort of pursue this Chinese thing and do a what in the university?
Then I went to Emory University for undergrad, and I majored in economics and Chinese, and then I got a Confucius Scholarship to go to Nanjing PCCP, and then after the Confucius Scholarship at Nanjing University, I got a...
You're not biting the hand that fed you. You're shitting on it.
I know.
So,
yeah, dude.
So what was the journey? Like you go to Guilin, and it's kind of like, whoa, this China is so much better than I thought, isn't it?
Well, I just thought that it had an energy like the 1950s in America, I would imagine probably felt, where you just felt like there was opportunity everywhere. No, I just felt like there was opportunity everywhere. Like things were changing fast and there was an energy that you could feel. And I felt it all the way up until even like 2011. And then when I went to the Central Academy of Drama, it was 2014 to 2016. Oh. And in that period of time, that's when you first saw like those booksellers in Hong Kong. A few of them get arrested. Things kind of progressively got worse. But I didn't really care that much.
Gradual decline and, I don't know, feeling comfortable or anything.
Well, at night, and like I just turned on the TV and it wasn't a CCTV channel, television. Mm-hmm. And it's just two hosts wearing like, you know, really formal. He wrote to his father when he was working in the countryside as a young man.
You know,
they're like, look at how, dude, they're like, look at Xi's penmanship. And it's like, for any of us that know Chinese, you know that Xi's an absolute moron.
So I mean, you can't blame it. Well, I was more going for the German thing. It's mein Sohn. Ja, das ist wunderbar.
The other one was, I was in bed with my girlfriend at the time, and we were watching TV, and they were talking about the Canadians that were arbitrarily arrested. Yeah, they were arbitrarily arrested, and I was like, I literally looked at her. I was really sad because in that moment I knew that we were gonna have to break up, and I was like, I know I'm gonna have to leave. Like this is it. This is done.
That's pretty drastic, though. I mean, she could leave. She could leave the country, or was she like into the government and shit?
Oh, that's such a sad story, man. She was like, she was like feeling it. She was understanding what I was saying. And then COVID broke out and she just went the opposite. She just went hard. Xiao Fen Hong. She just went like, you know what?
Oh.
CCP is our country. I'm going to defend it.
Yeah. I've been carefully observing my personal friends COVID. And so far, you know, knock on wood, there have not been any major fuck ups, you know, like not a personal friend going like, well, you know, those Muslims got to kick them out. No. I mean, it could be. It's kind of like,
I know you're just like treading carefully. You're like, please don't let me down. Please don't let me down. Please
exactly.
Don't let me down.
You go like, dude, I've known you for 20 years, but like, what do you think of Hitler?
Yeah. It's like, well, I think he had some good ideas. It's like, no, we're never going to be friends again.
We gotta move on, right? I mean, look at the Autobahn. Look at the Autobahn. Dude. And one thing that kind of, for me personally, I was always very comfortable in China. Like, okay, I had a run-in with the government a few times. One time they put me in some detention, but just a hotel detention. I basically I had this computer in this hotel suite, and I just watched porn for like 3 days, and then I was out. Yeah, it was good. later, I figured they probably have cameras in that room.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I bet the guy that was beating off to you beating off, he was probably doing it too.
They're like, we gotta watch this guy. He's walking around in Xinjiang with it.
Wait, I mean,
but I've been personally always like China to everybody. I'm not even saying like this whole Serpent ZA shtick where he goes like, yeah, you can pick up all the women and stuff. It's not like, no, and they're like, whoa, you're Chinese. Whoa, that was awesome.
People like you or I that actually do care about the tones and demonstrate proficiency in it, open our mouths, we can speak one sentence and Chinese people can hear that like, oh, this dude's not fucking around. And the power that has in China is unbelievable. And
I never thought of it that way, that they can tell from one sentence. I always thought they're just kind of fucking with me because like, you know, in Beijing Film Academy, they were like, dude, you're so handsome. Don't look like David Beckham. Like not even close.
But you fit. So I used to have such bad Asian fever. And it's like, well, I grew up in Texas around thick Latino women. My taste is definitely much more for the voluptuous type, a lot more Western girls in China than I did Chinese girls. I can tell you that. And so like guys like you though have like what fits their standard of like what a beautiful white man. They stopped being polite. They were like, dude, your Chinese sucks. At that time I'd studied it too for and that changed my life. I
should have gone there. Beiyang is not like that. Beiyang is 2 years of people just going like, dude, you're the best. You're so handsome.
It's like just you
know the boom guy?
Yeah,
the boom guy wants to be the cinematographer, and the cinematographer wants to be the director, and the director bones all the actresses, and that's it. That's Beiyang. That's Beiyang, like this little bubble of people thinking, I'm gonna be the director and I'm gonna bone all them.
Be that position.
Exactly. That's the bone guy. And that's it. It was it was a lot of bullshit, but it was also nice because it was very liberal and people just didn't give a fuck about anything. Just a bunch of rich kids and beautiful kids. But back to my point, like I always felt like I'm happy in China. I'm not traumatized by China. Nothing has ever happened to me really. Yeah. But once you get close to Chinese people, that is just horrifying.
Yeah.
You go back a few decades, traumatized by a bunch of shit in the States.
But you're right though. You're totally right though.
And this was like, it just kept piling on. And it felt like at some point it is really that bad. Like before I went to China, I thought that's fucked up. I mean, they're communists and they all look the same and they speak this bullshit. This is awesome. All the media are kind of just painting it in really like in a bad picture. Like it's, I don't know, everybody's suppressed all the time. They're not suppressed. They're having fun. It's great. And everybody layer of fun, you know, like you're leaving the theme park and you fucked up. And
well, what I always say is when you get to the backside of the theme park, I start to realize that we're all actually that far apart. And the pain, though, the problems that happen in China, even view it as that traumatic. Like it could be traumatic to them, but they don't really have a lot of things to relate.
Could be worse. Could be worse.
You know, Yeah, they would say exactly. It could be worse. But the other thing is the absence of a transparent law system gives this prevents the society from improving. You know, and the most obvious example of that is, well, there's two examples, but the one that we all know is Pengcer, when the people like act like they get hit by a car to try and get money. And, you know, you start to see examples of when that car put in reverse and run them over again to kill them, because the price will be less
easier,
if you kill them. Will be very pessimistic and very down about Chinese people. And they'll say like, it's in their bones. Like, 你不觉得是在他们的骨子里吗? They think it's in their bones. What I always say is like, you know, I was a student of behavioral economics, and what you see is with the absence of a law system or an enforcement system in place, that the darkness of humanity will come out, because we're all self-interested, which is different than selfish, that we're all going to do stuff that's in our own interest. And if you don't have a law system that incentivizes us not to do that, then there's no limit to the evils that people will do. It's not necessarily Chinese people. I still think it comes back to the party in an absence of a legal system.
Well, we always got Taiwan to look at. They don't want to be Chinese. They don't want to be called Chinese. But have you been like, you know, I'm this, I don't know, my character is in a way that I don't relate well to authority. So like, if you tell me something is going to be good, like back in my mind, there's going to be this little voice telling me, no, that's going to suck. Because, you know, Lawrence said that, and Lawrence is this white oppressor guy or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So like everybody without exception was telling me Taiwan is awesome and you're going to love it. So I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to find a way to hate it.
Yeah.
And I get there and I can't. Okay. Food, I would probably prefer mainland Chinese, but like,
no doubt.
Everything else, everybody was sweet. There, you could just get on a metro train.
Food, mainland Chinese. Also, let's be honest, that Mingnang dialect is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about dialects, but the Putonghua they speak, or like that Guoyu, that is a little bit. Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, okay. But like, I mean, the price, if that's the price you pay for being in a place where everybody's sweet, and relaxed, and they're like all a bit gay, you know, it's awesome. It's awesome.
That's like, one of my stand-up jokes too that I talk about. I always talk about the accent difference between someone in Beijing versus Taiwan. And I'll do the impression of like "turtle-mania," and then like in Taiwan it's like "你吃了没?" and it kind of sounds like stereotypical flamboyant gay guy. If you put that accent in a Beijinger, he turns Taiwanese. Place, and I look forward to being able to go there in the future. I just think it's going to be very funny when Taiwanese people hear me, because I open my mouth and it's just Beijing. It's just,
oh, really?
Like, and I don't even do it on purpose. It's just because that's where I made the most progress in my language skills. And so, like, as soon as I open it, I can't wait for Taiwanese people to hear that. Actually, the Communist Party hates me.
You know, I didn't get any of that in Taiwan. And that's probably one thing that I would say was a little bit worrying about Taiwan, is that they were not concerned at all. Like, it's kind of like mainland China exists, but it's like this abstract sphere, like on a different planet. And they don't really look at it. They're like, dude, I have bubble tea.
Dude, have you tried these tapioca balls?
Dude, we're like, I don't know, like there's this one friend from Sichuan, she told me like in Taiwan, it's basically fashionable to be a bit bi or gay. It's kind of like, if you're not, then you're kind of you know, a square. So like they're all with their bubble tea and like thinking about like, dude, how gay am I? And happy. And then don't worry. So like no, for them, like me, my accent is all over the place. Sometimes it sounds a bit like Xinjiang. I don't know what it is. It's just this plus some German, but it's just kind of like China doesn't really exist.
Well, I've had Taiwanese people in my comment section be like, Lula, you should totally just come and live in Taiwan. You could like totally live a great life here. And I'm like, you know, it would be cool to do that. But if I'm going to Taiwan, I would hope that I have like maybe like a bodyguard or something, because like it's intense on Earth right now. Like,
you don't need a bodyguard. You need like an ejection system someplace else.
Some submarine or something.
Something like that. Yeah. I feel the same way. I would like to live in Taiwan for a while. But I don't know. I don't want to wake up and then it's kind of like these bubble tea drinking people that are all a bit gay. They're like, dude, they landed. Oh, they're weird. Why did they land?
That we gotta, that's important here is Taiwan is an island country. So like, if you go to island countries, usually people are just like, they're more just like, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? And like, you'll see it in LA too, because, I went to high school up in New England. Vermont is like, there was countless time, intense winters that make you realize that like death hides around every corner. And I think that when you interact, at least for me, I got along so much better with people from Beijing and the northern part of China, just because you see that raw sense of, and sometimes, when you're in LA, dude, I'm telling you, it's just not that, yeah, it's like, whatever, man, things are good.
It's going to be all right.
Yeah,
you live on a literal fucking fault line.
5 years. It's not a big deal.
Plus, you can't say black person anymore. I learned that from, what's his name? Cao Cao?
Well, he's fucking wrong because
okay, cool.
Some very close black friends. They're very close.
And you called them black.
Good racial environment is to not pretend like it's not there.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like to be like, like, oh, check that black girl out right there. I'm telling you, that's like my type right there, man. Like she's great. That's like the body type that I like or something like that. It's just, if you make it a thing, like if you think that, my fraternity was the only fraternity at my college that if you couldn't, unsurprisingly, our president is super liberal and super social, just like threw it out in the open. And once it was in the open, it was like it didn't exist, but that's what you should go for. And I just think that, the neoliberal, the hardcore left in America, it's really like, white women that never hang out with Latinos, and they just want to attach that cause to themselves in order to look like they are brave or they are, great. And I'm evil dicks. I will protect you. And that's frustrating because like that's actually racism. If you're like acting like they're weaker people, yeah, it's that savior mentality, and that's the consequence of things like identity politics. And that's why I always tell these Chinese Trump fans, it's like when they bring those problems up, like political correctness and identity politics, I'm like, you guys are not wrong. That is a problem. You're just misremandering to hijack elections, and to you have Mitch McConnell, America, while Trump has been in office, has had all these young, inexperienced, but conservative judges appointed all over the country. And no Americans have even paying attention to it at all. And so even if Trump loses this election, the consequences of his term and the Republicans controlling the Senate, as a generation, millennials, we're going to be feeling it for a long time. The majority of America didn't vote for Trump. The electoral colleges, he won that vote. The majority did not vote for Trump. And now it's even, I think the last election, 2016, had voted for Trump. Everything else was Democrat. So it's like the whole country is moving towards a more progressive model, but we're going to be held back by the GOP using tricks and unfair loopholes to gain an advantage. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just complain that the GOP shouldn't do that because you shouldn't be a bad person. I think the Democrats should not be such pussies and fight back. Like if they want to play tough, then you also need to play tough too. Otherwise don't complain.
So we need a left-wing populist?
I spend just being like Andrew Yang.
Okay. One question that just came up. So in your Chinese studies that you did in university, was that diverse or was it just white people?
Oh, well, at Nanjing, it was diverse as hell.
Really?
Yeah, it was, that really helped me a lot grow as a person because I never had the chance to interact with so many different people from so many different countries, Europe as well.
Okay,
which was great because
I'm not talking about different countries. I mean, I would kind of expect you to be a person of color if you're a sinology student or a Chinese student from Nigeria. But what I'm saying is like your alma mater in wherever that was in the States, was that diverse, the Chinese class? Because like it seems to me like
Oh.
studying these Oriental things and is like everywhere.
Yeah.
We're all like these
It's
Dashan guys, you know, gently, and then we get there and they're like, these guys are these cool guys that study Chinese.
yeah, I like them.
Yeah, but we're like like we're not on the spectrum of society.
Yeah.
Like you're not
We're
gonna
a very small group.
2 million. So like in
Uh-huh.
my Chinese class, we should have had one Turk or like Turkish background or two or whatever. We didn't. There's some white
Yeah.
people like
Korean and white. There's a lot of Koreans and
those
whites.
Koreans, yeah.
Yeah, those Koreans, they made me mad because they studied Chinese when they were really young and they just come and do it for an easy A.
Yeah.
Those assholes.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Dude, what I hated the most,
yeah.
second, third generation, and they speak very well, but they want to like, I don't know, brush up on writing. And I'm like, dude,
writing and reading.
Fuck you and your 18.
Because I dick on ABC, American born Chinese now. I'm like better than most of them at Chinese.
Yeah.
Because their vocabulary is so limited. Their vocabulary is so limited. They don't know any
collaborators that you make these videos with.
Well, now I just make videos with myself, and I owe my first.
I thought it was a bunch of guys.
No, I just do it myself.
Okay.
I write the scripts. Who's from? He's a Uyghur from Xinjiang.
Isn't that guy?
Who's a YouTuber? Sure. Nice. But no, so he's a YouTuber, and he is a part of the Uyghur minority that's being prosecuted in the Xinjiang region. And he helps me do the videos where I go outside and shoot videos.
I noticed that.
We haven't been able to do that for a while because he's got two young children. So he's got. It was the first Cold War 2020. Yeah, look at this. How far we've come.
That was a good one, though. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was Tamani is showing this too, because I get at least every stream, I at least get one or two people that are like, if you ever want to do this in the future, dude, I'm down 100% of the time.
Awesome. I gotta talk to
Olay. She's cool, dude. She's badass.
You talk to her?
Yeah.
Because people they're like, are you two related? Are you a couple or whatever? So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
No, it's just a good Yayun though. It's a good rap. It's a good rhyme.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I'm gonna check.
But
that
no,
out
she's
too.
dope though.
I should talk to Nathan Rich.
I don't think he would talk to you.
I don't know. I don't know if I can, because it seems like Joe Rogan, really doesn't give a fuck. Like you could say, I don't know. I ate my parents, and he'd be like, "Oh, cool. That's interesting. That's interesting." With his headphones, he'd be like, "Okay, why did you do that?" Fine for him, but for me, it's not fine. I really wonder what is going on in Nathan Rich's head, what made him this way, because it's really weird. I don't know.
Money is one. One's money. The other is also an Asian fetish. I mean, a fetish for Asian women also drives a lot of those dudes. And I know that from personal experience, seeing them, because I was on, a lot of TV shows when I was in China with like some really good Mandarin speaking, white monkeys is what we call them. And, a lot of them had Asian fetish. Now, a lot of them were gay. So they liked Asian dudes. There were dudes that liked Asian dudes.
Okay.
But the dude is not only driven by money, but also Asian fetish, which makes sense because someone like him would be wholeheartedly rejected by women in the West. They respect me.
He is very handsome when he gets so angry in his video.
God, he's such an awful looking man, dude. He's such he's the villain in any movie.
He's the guy who sends you like a finger of your loved one and is like, dude, you better pay.
Dude, he wouldn't come on your show though, because what these guys have is they're managed by MCNs or whatever. They're managed, and their managers would never let them go on your show or have anything to do with you, because that would immediately put them in the crosshairs. Guo Jierui and all these guys, any of these white monkeys would never in their life. Now, the interesting thing would be, could we ever be in a position where we could like see them like TMZ at the airport and be like, Nathan Rich, you said that there was not a genocide going on in Xinjiang region. Can you explain more about how you feel about that?
Or could we make a persona that is fake and lures them? Wow, tell me more. Where did these Uyghurs go? Tell me. I could like totally like this German genocidal maniac.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
You could do it because you have that character. I couldn't. I don't think I could do it. I think he probably knows who I am too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to think of something. Should be or an Asian woman. We get an Asian looking woman as bait.
That would work. Yeah, that would definitely work. Oh man, and get him to try and like admit, be like, so like, how much money do you make from like working for the Communist Party? And he'd be like, oh, I make so much, baby. It's great. All I have to do is they give me a script and I read it and I just get my paycheck and leave. You know, that's a good idea too, because I had opportunities to do that. I had opportunities to do it all the time. I have screenshots of government officials asking me if I'm willing to, for Idailu, for example. There was like tons of Idailu events, streams that you just are given a script. These are the topics that we need you to talk about, and we need you to say this way. This is your guandian. And you say it, and then you get money for it. It's a very clear-cut relationship. It's a hooker and pimp relationship.
That's what people think about you and me too.
I know.
I'm sitting here.
Where the fuck is that money?
I'm sitting here in my room with Coco, you know?
Yes.
And me and Coco were just like these two dudes. Well, there's Toto too. And there's nobody to help us. And I can't even
I will say that you, me, Go Ge, Chen Jiushi, and these other guys that don't like Trump, they say we are Da Wai Xuan, that we are working for the Chinese propaganda.
We are everything. We are everything. We are simultaneously paid by everybody. And yet still we hang out in these apartments.
Yeah, still I live alone, and I would love, you know, I was late on my electricity bill last month. Okay, I would love to know where this money is coming from that they keep talking about.
But like, but a conspiracy theory around Nathan Rich. You know, maybe he's really just this guy. Like he's like with his punk shirts in his past or whatever. He's super something leaning. He goes to China. He's like, I'm finally handsome. This place isn't so bad. He doesn't speak the language. He never gets to talk to anybody who tells him what, you know.
Level,
And he really genuinely likes it.
Dude, I think you have the Joe Rogan empathy that you need to be able to think in someone's, put their shoes or to jump in their shoes.
And then he ate his parents.
Yeah, well, let's be honest. The dude is illegal. I'm not going to hate the guy for getting arrested for dealing drugs, but if you have a criminal record for getting arrested, you're not supposed to be able to get.
Just saying, Burn.
Just saying.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Burn. I do want everybody to be very clear, though.
All town, like there was nothing there when I was growing up. Like somebody smoking a joint was like super like gangster.
Yeah.
And for me, it's I started
very late.
I had my first joint like a year ago or two.
Well, to be honest with you, I think alcohol is a little overrated. It's definitely not even on my top 3 of favorite drugs. And I think that my favorite one that I would say, but I think that, you know, LSD is a drug that it makes you incredibly empathetic towards not only other people, but towards your bad trips on those hallucinogenic drugs. To be able to guarantee that you have a good one, you have literally the best day of your life.
And then I could be watching Nathan Rich and be like, yeah, I get it.
You'll go down a dog. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's what would happen. That's exactly what would happen.
Yes. Xi Jinping. Or like, I would take LSD and make.
When he was young, he has no idea what he's doing.
Have you seen his Shudan? All right, man. I'm gonna play with Coco, and then I'm gonna go
hit all the topipics. Hit everything.
Yeah. We'll talk more another time, and then I'm gonna go get my paycheck from the CIA, and also
and then go get it from the CCP,
and also from Go and Gui.
Oh yeah, Go and Gui as well. Nice, dude. All right, well, it's nice talking to you, man. Until next time. Man.
Peace.
All right, peace, and that's.